Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a few incidents where police officers get humiliated after trying to abuse their authority. Watch these manipulative officers realize they mess with the wrong people. Let's kick things off with footage recorded by a passenger of a vehicle that was initially pulled over during a traffic stop. We all know that during a traffic stop, an officer's main concern is with the driver of the vehicle and the vehicle itself. However, in this case, the officer conducting the traffic stop decided to harass the passenger by needlessly demanding his ID and subsequently trying to pull open his door. The passenger, namely Mr. Johnson, made it clear to the officer that he would not provide his ID no matter what.
I know what's in here.
What's your name and badge number?
Keenan, 3210.
Keenan, 3210.
Do you have a driver's ID?
Why do I have to give it to you?
I'm asking.
Hey. Let me just call her.
Do you have an ID on you, yes or no?
No, I don't.
Okay. Might have you step out.
You're not allowed to open this door either. You don't reach into this car. Get off my finger.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to reach into this car.
Don't.
That's illegal as shit. I'm not with you, and there's no reason for you to curse at me.
Listen, I asked for your ID. Do you
And
have
I
ID
said I
on
don't
you?
have ID, and I'm not giving you any, even if I did.
Huh?
I said I'm not giving it to you, even if I did. You have no reason to stop me. I'm a passenger in a car.
Even though the encounter is already quite ridiculous, things immediately take a turn for the worse when the officer evidently tries to fish for reasons to force Mr. Johnson outside of the vehicle. The officer started off by accusing Mr. Johnson of not wearing his seatbelt, which was completely false, as Mr. Johnson had removed it once the driver pulled over during the traffic stop. This is nothing unusual, as there's no need to wear a seatbelt inside of a stationary vehicle that's parked and switched off. Such was the case here.
You don't have your seatbelt on.
I don't have my seatbelt on because I took it off when
No,
you
you
pulled
didn't.
this over. How you gonna
Look,
tell
there's
me?
no tint in this car. I can
There's
see.
no tent. That means I can't do this. I had to
Okay.
go up. You pulling us over. I'm wondering why. We in here talking about Jesus.
Okay. So
You
you're making
flash behind
things
him.
extremely difficult.
I'm not making things extremely difficult.
are.
I'm making things extremely
Do you have
constitutional.
an ID, yes or no?
That's what I'm making.
What are you talking about? Constitutional.
I'm making it constitutional.
You're in a vehicle that was
I'm in a
legally
vehicle
stopped.
that was legally
Okay.
stopped. And
So,
you trying to say just
right
because you
off the
didn't see me
bat-
you didn't see me with a seatbelt on?
Right off the bat, that's enough to get your ID.
No, that's not enough to get me because
It
I'm not
is.
driving the car.
It is.
No, it is
So,
not.
do you have
Go
ID
give me a
on
supervisor,
you?
please. Give me a supervisor. Please.
No, we're not getting you.
Yes, we're getting you. So you're not asking me. I asked 3 times already.
Yeah. So if it,
Can I have a supervisor?
make sure it's safe for my supervisor.
Okay, why are you not? Well, so what? That's not
the.
who I am. Is
All
not
right.
making any
Do you have
sense.
any ID on you? Yes or no?
Why?
Because I'm asking you.
No, I do not.
No.
Nope, I don't.
All right. Do me a favor. Step out of the car.
Why am I stepping out of the car?
Because I'm asking you to step out of the car.
As seen in the footage, the officer gave up on trying to fish for reason and chose not to hide his tyranny. He blatantly refused to call his supervisor after numerous requests by Mr. Johnson, and then proceeded to give unlawful orders by essentially saying that Mr. Johnson should follow his orders just because he said so. Eventually, Mr. Johnson is forced to step out and then patted down by the officers. It's important to note that Mr. Johnson had not committed any crimes, and the officers were essentially violating his constitutional rights. It could be said that the officers simply didn't like the fact that Mr. Johnson was protecting his rights from being violated. Maybe the officers were just used to abusing their authority and were surprised to come across someone who knew their rights.
Any weapons?
Plastic.
Dude.
You want to give him whatever you get?
Step out of the car. Put your hands up here. You have any weapons on you? Anything that can hurt me?
I got a pocket full of nails, a measuring tape, I think a pencil.
Any weapons that could hurt me?
A nail possibly could hurt you. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
Huh?
Do I still have a knife on me?
I don't know.
I may have in my apron.
I asked you several times. You don't wanna
And
help
what
me
did I
out?
say? The first time you didn't ask me several.
Huh?
You done yet? I haven't done anything illegal at all.
Step in.
Nothing.
Back in the car.
Absolutely nothing.
Keep your hands up here for me, right?
Oh no, I'll make sure. I'm gonna make sure I'm recording all this.
You can record it.
Well, I ain't gonna go in my pocket. I was gonna put them on my head. But so this is the you go through. We wasn't doing nothing. He's trying to tell me I didn't have my seatbelt on, which I did. So I should have videotaped that instead of the conversation that we were having prior to them pulling us up. Please do not give them my name.
Sir, I don't know why you're making this.
Please do not give them my name, because my name is not going to no database just because y'all decide to pull somebody over for something. I know how that works very well. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you anything. I didn't do anything, so I'm not giving you anything.
All right, let me help you out. You can, it's up to you. You can keep that on, or but I wanted to talk to you. I'm going to give you an opportunity.
Opportunity to what?
To
violate my rights?
No.
As if things weren't outrageous enough, the officer suddenly demanded Mr. Johnson's fingerprints since he was refusing to identify himself. As expected, and rightfully so, Mr. Johnson did not comply with the officer's unlawful orders and asked if he was being detained. In response, the officer stated that he was indeed being detained and would be taken to jail if he continued to refuse to provide his ID. Mr. Johnson subsequently pleaded the fifth and decided not to answer the baseless questions the officer was asking him.
Are you going to keep that on?
Yeah, you're damn right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, then I'm going to explain to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a fingerprint scanner.
And I'm not going to give you my fingerprints either.
Okay, so listen to me. So when I bring that here, if you come back with something stupid, like a probation warrant, a traffic warrant,
You won't have none of those either.
then
Won't
I'm
have
going
any.
to have to take you in for that.
Okay, and you won't find
You
any
would
of
just
those.
give me your name. And
I'm
your
not giving you anything.
I can-
You're violating my rights as we speak.
Okay.
You're violating my rights. Matter of fact,
Well, then maybe you should get
I
a
plead
lawyer
the fifth.
and you
No, I
can
don't
get
have to.
some,
I plead the fifth.
money out of it
I
if
plead
I'm
the fifth.
following
You know what? Absolutely. What's your last name again?
It's
Miller?
4482.
4482.
Yeah.
And
So, Mr. Dennis,
321
Mr. Dennis,
Jenner.
you have. Would you like to provide your name and date of birth for me? Because I don't want to have to take you down to the station. If you're not going to give me your fingerprint either, I'm going to have to. This is going to be a long process.
A long, arduous process.
You're a block away from being where you need to go. So it doesn't really make much sense to me. But if that's the way you want to go, I have no problem taking you to get your ID.
I told you I want to see a supervisor. I've said that
then
several
I'm
times.
not doing it
I
until
said-
get your ID.
So what? I'm not armed.
Okay,
And
but I
both of
don't
y'all
know
here
who you
with
are.
guns and
I don't-
tasers, right?
I don't know who you
And
are.
batons and whatever. So you don't know what does that have to do with then you shouldn't be worrying about nobody's safety. What? Someone turn up on the terrorist watches or something? I got a tape measure on an apron from Home Depot
Right.
with
so,
nails in it.
So nobody
So
here.
apparently I'm doing work.
What's that?
So does that make me armed? You just frisked me.
You're right.
So, unless I'm going to beat you with the belt I got on and whatnot, I'm
Nobody's-
pretty much nothing.
Are
I'm
you
not
in
doing
handcuffs?
anything. No, I shouldn't be anyway.
Okay. So what do you?
Am I
what do you-
detained?
Yes.
Am I being
Yes,
detained?
under
Then I don't
doubt.
have nothing else to say.
So you're not.
I don't
Gonna
have nothing else to say. I plead the fifth.
So you're gonna make me take you all the way to 55th.
If you need to do that and whatnot, I'm going to sue you. I guarantee you that I'm going to sue you.
All right. Well,
And I'm going to make sure I personally attach my ass to your pension for the rest of your life. I'm going to make sure I sue you personally.
okay. Well, you and my baby's mother can do that as
Oh,
well.
I ain't got nothing to do with your baby mom. I'm just talking about what's going on right here. You're not going to sit up here and violate my rights. You're not. I haven't done anything. I'm a passenger in the car just because you think you didn't see my seatbelt on and you didn't see me take it off, which I don't understand how you seen it might have been on anyway. It's damn near the same color as this damn hoodie. So I don't understand what's the whole point of you pulling me and asking me for ID. You're not even allowed to do that. Ask me for ID. You're not. No, you're not.
This is where things got even worse. As Mr. Johnson explained that there was no reason for the officers to detain him, he was asked a bunch more bizarre questions, including whether he graduated high school, whether he was impaired, and whether he had mental problems. It goes without saying that this entire situation was completely out of pocket at that point, so Mr. Johnson yet again requested the officers to call a supervisor.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a passenger. You pull him over. I'm sitting on this side. I didn't do anything wrong. So if he made a traffic infraction or if this car came up some kind of way messed up, which I'm sure it didn't because he's still in there, and he showed you all necessary paperwork that's accompanied with this car, including his driver's license. Yeah, I know he did. So with that in mind, so he's free and clear. What does this traffic stop have to do with me now? Or do I fit the description of somebody?
Now you're just making things.
No, I'm not making this. I know the whole cop. So, you know what I mean? Like, really. This is no surprise to me. I actually was expecting her. Well, I was wondering why he rolled down my window to begin with. But I was as soon as I seen you walk over there, hey, how you doing? You want to look in the car, see if you can get some plain view just to have a reason to want to search the car. I'm well versed in this. That's why I'm like, if you want to for me about it, that's fine. I don't want to go to jail tonight. I don't feel like going to no precinct. But you're not going to sit up here and just start chastising me or sit there and try to accost me for sitting down in mind of my business with a phone in my hand. You're not going to do that. Oh, yeah, and I said no. I'm not going to provide you with any identification whatsoever. There's no reason. What reasonable, articulate suspicion do you have that I have committed a crime?
I have a question. How far did you go?
No. That's all I'm asking. What reasonable, articulable suspicion do you have of me committing a crime?
Do you have any kind of
I'm not answering no
hearing
questions.
impairments or anything
What
like that?
do you have one?
Mental
I asked you a
health?
question.
Do you have any
I asked you a
mental
question.
health,
What reason? What is your RAS?
What is mine?
RAS, reasonable, articulable suspicion. What that I've committed a crime? That's what get me the ID. What is that? 4802. 3802. I did have my seatbelt on. You did not see it.
Did not see it.
You did not see it.
So why wouldn't you?
So even if that's the case, let's say, because I pulled it off because I drove up. In case I have to get out of his way, in case he needs something out of that car, I'm on this side. I'm doing my job as a passenger. Now, are you going to get me a supervisor or what? I need a supervisor.
The footage cuts off shortly after, but a supervisor was finally called to the scene, and Mr. Johnson was reportedly allowed to leave without further problems. Moving on, we have yet another police officer who appears to be on a major power trip. In this encounter, a man was recording a situation taking place in public between officers and a female subject who appeared to be crying on the floor. Since the First Amendment protects the right to record matters of public interest, the man was well within his right to do what he was doing. However, for some reason, one of the officers didn't like that the man was exercising his rights and decided to threaten him.
Yes. There should not be a police report.
There most certainly will be a police report.
We want to go home.
Sir, I need you to walk away. I'm currently interviewing a victim of a crime. If you don't walk away, I'll file charges to the state for obstruction. Do you understand me? Jorge Barrios de Silverio, you're being recorded on audio and video recorded on body cam. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I need you to walk away. I'm giving you a lawful order to walk away from my scene. I'm interviewing a victim of a crime. I will forward charges to the state for obstruction of justice. Do you understand me? I'm going to tell you for the last time, and then I'll complete a state attorney office review, and I will forward charges to the state. You're impeding my investigation. You hear my victim crying, sitting there, and you are doing this to her.
Baby, you're okay.
They are part of this investigation. Are you not? Are you part of this investigation? You're witnesses to this investigation? Yes, sir. So they can stay. You have no parts of this investigation. You need to leave.
As seen in the footage, the man continued to record the officer while staying silent and refusing to respond. The officer threatened the man by stating that he would forward criminal charges against the man for obstruction of justice if he didn't walk away from the scene. Then, the officer walked back to the female subject after saying that he would be certainly filing charges against the man. Following this, even though the officer sees contact with the man, he continued to talk about him with the female subject, stating that he had no decency for human beings and that he exploits people for a living.
Charges will be filed to the state, sir. Have a nice night. And this is all documented, audio and video recorded on body cam. Officer Lynn, Sarasota Police Department, ID 1870. Ma'am, I want to remove you from the situation because this gentleman has no decency.
I'm not leaving without my husband.
Okay, well, unfortunately that can't happen, and I want to remove you from the situation because this man has no decency for humans, okay? So, I just need you to come up and remove yourself,
I will have
okay?
to come up and go back to work.
Okay, well, I can't let you override him now. Okay, I know you're not doing anything wrong, but this man exploits people for a living. That's what he does
fine.
with his
It's not
family.
me. It's you.
He exploits people.
It's you, not me.
Stop.
And I don't
Stop.
want that to happen. All right?
Stop.
So,
Stop talking.
hey, we're going to go ahead and put him in the vehicle and get him out of here so we can get her out of here since Jorge Barrios de Silverio has no decency for humans.
This childish behavior continued with all the other subjects involved in the investigation. Watch as the officer continued to try and dispel the man by talking against him.
This is nothing I ever did. That's my best friend. That's my girlfriend.
this is where the officer was humiliated, as the female subject ultimately thanked the man for recording the entire ordeal and told the officer that she was comfortable with it. This goes to show that even though the female subject appeared to have an emotional episode, she was able to see right through the officer's malicious intentions.
Thank you for recording this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Would you like to wait over here, ma'am?
I'm comfortable.
The officer eventually had a walk of shame back to his patrol vehicle and certainly didn't dare to report the man for any wrongdoing. Here we have two officers who attempted to harass the wrong man and immediately regretted it. These officers initially noticed a man taking out trash from his car and dumping it in the designated area. Nothing illegal was going on whatsoever. Despite this, they decided to make contact with the man, who turned out to be an attorney and the owner of a law firm.
Hi there.
My office is here.
Your office is here?
I own an office here.
Okay, which office is it?
The Otherwise law firm.
The what?
Here is my business card.
As seen in the footage, the man appeared to be very compliant and was clearly just minding his own business. He even stated that his office was on the property and he was legally allowed to be there. Then, the man asked the officers whether they wanted to see his ID. Now, this was a debatable course of action to say the least. Technically, in this situation, the man did not even need to speak with either of the officers since he was not detained and was clearly not up to anything illegal. Also, the officers certainly did not have a good enough reasonable suspicion to question him about anything. In this case, it was not a wise decision to overshare, and we will soon find out why.
Sir, 160.
Okay. All right. Huh?
Show you my ID.
If you don't mind, just so, yeah, if you don't mind, can we see your ID?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That's a slick business card.
Yep.
All right. I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we're kind of concerned, seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So.
Suddenly, it appeared that the second officer was about to run the man's ID through the system. Upon realizing this, the man promptly asked the officers not to do that and return his ID back to him. In the footage, the officer himself implied that the only reason they were speaking to the man was that he was dumping trash, which was, for some reason, weird to them, and they assumed it was illegal. As expected, the officers didn't want to end the ordeal there, so they argued with the man and stated that they will note down his name anyway.
All right.
Can I have it back? No, don't run it. Don't have to, don't run my card. Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Don't run my ID.
Don't run your ID?
You have no reason to.
Well, we're going to at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property, putting trash in mine.
Okay, but this is not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So don't
No
run
one said
my
that
ID.
you were violating any law.
No, don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identify myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine, but we can still mark down who we're out with, and so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
This stop me. Don't
Yes.
turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
Yeah.
So he's just going to write it down on a piece of paper.
It's just your name.
Why?
At this point, the officers were just clutching at straws since all else had failed. They started to accuse the man of illegally dumping, even though they knew very well that his office was on the property. Despite this, they continued to question him but were promptly shut down. They had no choice but to return his ID to him.
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you've already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else in the
It
complex.
belongs to me.
To you and you alone.
Yes.
Can you prove that that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
This dumpster belongs to the property.
Okay,
and I'm
that's
dumping my stuff in there.
That's my point, though. Is that if it's also other units?
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for
Okay.
it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID. Thank
There.
you.
Even though the officers eventually left the man alone and got back in their patrol vehicle, body cam footage captured one of them instructing the other to leave the area so they could run his name through the system anyway.
Thank
Hi.
you. Don't worry, everything is under control. And that's my wife.
Okay, that's
No,
fine.
I
Do you want your
understand
card
came-
back?
Yeah, I understand you came to check, but trying to run my ID to find anything, no, that's illegal.
That is not illegal. But okay, you can finish stumping if you like.
Thank you.
All right, just turn around and get out of here, and then we'll look him up. You got to put the keys in first. Those are my hands.
This encounter goes to show that some officers try very hard to harass innocent people minding their own business, and that it's never really a good idea to share too much information with law enforcement, as they can use it against you at any time. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we run through many other outrageous cases.